This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so we heard the conference being recorded. So the purpose of today's planning workshop is solely so the board can listen to Chef Peter and his desire to run the chuck wagon. After he's been given an opportunity to speak, each board member will then be given the opportunity to ask Chef Peter some additional questions. We will then give the residents the opportunity to ask Chef Peter again some additional questions. And I'll be having Marie facilitate that since she's on site. And Brad will be monitoring the chat to bring your questions forward. So the big question is, why are we having this meeting today when many of the residents are not on site? As you know, the board cannot meet together as a group to even have casual conversations without it being an open meeting. A meeting in an executive session for just informational purposes only would only be a violation of the open meeting law. So since Chef Peter's desire to run the restaurant is a bit time sensitive, we chose to hold this meeting at this time and give all residents a chance to listen and learn and ask additional questions of Chef Peter. As with any planning workshop, there are no motions on the table, no decisions will be made, no votes will be made. So I let the residents know that the board has reviewed the results of the survey and appreciate that many of you took that opportunity to give us that feedback. The results of the survey do mirror the many comments we heard at the town meeting. This was not intended to be viewed as a vote, but rather give us more information for us to consider. And as all board members, we look at it as looking at things aren't just either or, but are they both and what can that mean? I also want to remind the residents that we sent out the results of the long range planning survey last night. And you'll see that the residents have always felt the importance of having a restaurant on site. There'll be more information coming down the line in the fall, as we said in the blast that we sent you, regarding of how we're going to be using the long range planning survey with you being active participants. So with that, what I want to do is I'll be turning it over to Marie. But before I do that, I just want to remind everybody to mute your microphone. If your microphone is not muted, our staff on site will be attempting to mute it. And if they're not able to do that, they will be taking you off the meeting site. So it's important that you mute your microphone. And so now what I will do is I'll turn it over to Marie, who will introduce Chef Peter.
We
Marie,
can't
did you
hear
hear me?
Marie. It looks like Cappy Trails is muted.
Correct.
There we go.
Can you
Now
hear me
try
now?
it. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Introducing Chef Peters to everyone virtually and in person. Chef will explain why he is here today. And then I'm going to open the board up for discussion for questions. And then after that, we will open it up to the resort for questions. Chef?
Ladies and gentlemen, can everybody hear me? Yes. I never usually need a microphone, but I tell you what, coming in here, this is the first time I'm in this stage, and this is beautiful. And the reason I wanted to be here, and it's going to be, I want you guys to listen to a little story that I have to share. Is it okay if I stand or? Yeah, I'm usually like in this. I like to stand up and talk. But the biggest thing I wanted to mention, I said this. And I want everybody to really grasp to what I have to say. I am so proud to be here. I've been here since through COVID. We've been together through COVID. We went through so much things together, caterings here, everything here. But I wanted to say something right from the get-go. The board in Happy Trails did never reached out to me for about this, what I wanted. I was the one who reached out to Ms. Darlene. Actually, I pestered her quite a bit. I texted her. Maybe a little bit of harassment, a little bit, because I really wanted to share an idea that I have and a dream that I've had in my head about what I can do in this community. And so that with that stated, the biggest thing that I've done, I've been here since probably 2021 with my food truck out there, with the red food truck over here, all those events we did, the Western party, everything, catering a lot of events, and I fell in love with this community. I have a lot of my friends from here that go visit me at the Sun Village location. So the story that I'm going to share is like a deja vu story. Sun Village, I've been there for 5 years. 5 years ago exactly, I had I was standing at a stage doing a town hall meeting when they accepted me to go into that restaurant. And it's like deja vu because it's almost the same scenario in a little bit of a bigger scale. That restaurant, that Sun Village is composed of 1,345 units. Ours here in Happy Trails is a little bit bigger. But in that location, it was 5 restaurants in 4 years. It was a revolving door for restaurants in that location. The whole community had lost complete faith in the possibilities of ever having a successful restaurant in Sun Village. It went on and on. And so when I went in there in the town hall meeting, I gave everybody the opportunity to ask me questions. A couple of the questions that were said, and hopefully this answers a lot of your questions. The main one was, what do you plan to do different that has that had from what has been done in the last 5 years or 4 years? And my answer, that kind of shocked me. I was kind of like put on the spot. But the answer was, and it is still the same thing here. My commitment to you guys is that I will provide the best service I can provide, the best quality food I can provide. So where to build a location that you can be proud of. You know, what I did in Sun Village, I'm going to replicate it here. What we did over there when we first came in, the homes were mostly vacant. Having a successful restaurant in that community increased the real estate, the property value, and the sales of the homes. And we went on and on and but what I want to do here is very simple. I want to bring you guys, like I said, my team. I have an incredible team, and to bring you a value and a restaurant that you guys can be proud of and talk about to your friends. In general, there's questions of my catering. The catering is very important to me because that's what brought me to Sun Village. My commitment to you is that I will provide you. Number one is the community, is the restaurant. Number two would be catering. I've catered so many events here. I expect the same return, for you to give me the first shot at a catering potential for your club, your party, your anniversary, your picnic, your birthday. But overall, to bring you an incredible restaurant that has been lacking here. I'm not here to talk about the past, but without the past, we cannot be here. So now that we're here, what I can provide for you, having a restaurant locked and closed for the summer, in my personal humble opinion, is kind of silly. I care about our desert rats. The first time I heard that, I actually laughed. I was like, really, are you serious? But our desert rats, our non-snowbirds, our snowbirds, everybody. When everybody leaves, we have 40-30% of people that stay here. Why not have something fun and provide a service for those who stay here through the 120, 30 degrees? Thank you very much. And and with that said, in the summer, I understand that it's harder. I would not make it through so many summers without that. But providing an incredible, small, fast menu for you to come in here. The volunteer program. I am so about that volunteer program. That volunteer program would help me reduce the cost. I throw this out there just because my numbers guy is right here. This is Mr. David Erickson. You know, He's my mentor and my CPA. He's a little crazy like me. But ultimately, the numbers I threw out there with the volunteer program, if I have a $10 dish, which is still great, my prices at Sun Village outbid anybody in the area. But let's say, delicious biscuits and gravy. With the volunteer program, I can sell it for 30% less, 35% less to you guys. So who would benefit from that? Our community here. That's what I bring to you guys. In the summer, we don't need a 3 to 5 page menu. All we need is a simple, good quality menu that we can rotate every single 2 weeks. Keep it interesting. Communication with Darlene to everybody here saying, Chef Peter's introducing this menu for this coming month of June. Change it up. There's in my menu, there's always people that say, well, I don't like this kind of food. I want to hear it from you guys. What do you want? My catering menu, if you go on my website, this is the coolest, and excuse my language, but this is the coolest thing on my website. The catering, if you go to the catering section, I have roast beef, petite filet, I have stroganoff, I have everything you can think of. My commitment to you is that I will keep you entertained with my menus. I will keep it different. Trivia, karaoke, gatherings, hoedowns, everything we can think of. That's what I do at Sun Village. And my commitment is that I want to copy that and bring it to you. But thank you very much, my friends.
Okay, I'm going to take questions from the board. Cindy, would you like to start?
I forget, we have to have microphones. Okay, when we talked with you previously, you had mentioned a 6-month trial, and I'm curious to know if you're open to something longer in terms of a trial.
Absolutely. My commitment here would be, actually, that's a great point. In 6 months, I can prove to you that I can do something great for you. In 9 months, I can convince you 100%. In 10, 12 months, my commitment is that you be sold. So, yes, I'm open-minded to that 100%.
Anything else? No? Okay. Steve, shall we go with you next? Steve, can you hear me?
My concern really is that we surveyed our residents before most of the residents left. We had 500 respondents, and their concerns were pricing, quality, uh, some concerns about gluten-free, and all of those things are a concern that I have, but and don't take this personally. My real issue is that we surveyed the residents. 500 returned their responses, which makes it a very valid survey. And the majority of those folks wanted a specific sort of arrangement. And whether that was to keep price down or because it was something they were familiar with, I'm not qualified to say. Simply, the survey did indicate that they wanted to have some kind of a arrangement that would provide food on a fairly rapid basis. Part of our experience the past year was wait times of 40 minutes or more for food plate to be delivered to the table. Those kinds of things need to be addressed. But I guess I'll just close. My real question is, we got 500 responses on a survey, and it almost seems arrogant for us to be doing this again and not, it appears as though we're not listening to our residents.
Yeah, absolutely. So to hit on the couple of points that you had, sir, on the price with the volunteer program, 3 years ago, I did not understand that volunteer program. I swear to God, and I didn't. I was a little hesitant about it, but after seeing the volunteers that work side by side with me through all these events, I am so excited to tell you that I can work on bringing you guys an incredible price, uncompetitive from any location around. I don't think McDonald's can even compete with us. So, quality, I will never, ever, ever jeopardize quality over saving a penny, ever. That's my commitment to you 100%. Gluten free, I'm actually very proud of this. I'm redoing the menus in my restaurant. 89% of my menu is gluten free now. We have all our sauces are made with cornstarch. We have gluten free wraps, gluten free bread, gluten free hamburgers, the best of the best. And to bring to your question, and not being in this community 100%, I wanted to say this from the bottom of my heart. I've been personally really trying to get in here for 2.5 years, and nobody is to blame for anything other than me. Pestering Ms. Darlene, calling her, hey, I really need a hearing with the board. So on the surveys, with all due respect with everybody, I understand surveys being in Sun Village. But one thing that I wanted you guys to hear from me is we can do, I've said this in the past, and please hear me out on this. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting a different result. And thank you very much, my friends, because what I bring to you is going to be, people are going to be talking about this in a very positive way. But thank you very much.
Anything further, Steve? Okay. Roberta, do you have questions? Roberta, can you hear me?
I'm waiting for my mic. Yes, I got it. My mic had to come back on. I'm sorry. Yes, first I have a couple things. One thing I want to state about the survey, 11% of 3,500 residents does not necessarily speak for everyone. Yes, I think we need to consider all voices. So that means we need to consider the 11%, and then we need to consider the other 79% as well. 89% as well. I do want to clarify a couple of things with Chef Peter. You state that you're going to bring a staff, you're going to use volunteers. So as I understand that, I'm assuming your staff is in some of the liaison positions like cooking and prepping, and that volunteers might be helped for service, which would also help to keep the pricing down. Is that correct?
Absolutely. My team, I have an incredible ready to come over. And the reason I'm so excited to do this is because I have a big team. And in order to keep, I'm sorry to make this longer, but most restaurants in the valley, when summer comes, they let go of all their half of their team, and then in October they're struggling to retrain everybody. Where I'm blessed and give my team the full commitment is that I never let go of my team. So I have a whole team ready to come over here and provide you a great quality. But to answer to your question is exactly the volunteers. I would love them. They would help me reduce the cost by working on the service part, pouring coffee, helping me clear tables, and all that good stuff. And I know they're really good at it, by the way. They serve me some great coffee here.
Okay, great. And then another question that I have as I trying to get clarification. These are questions that have come to me by other residents. When you're talking about catering business, the one thing that people are concerned about is that how can you possibly make money during the summer when we have a approximately 1,000 plus members staying here, that's not enough to support a restaurant. But as I would understand it from a business standpoint, you're looking at catering as the whole sum and that you're still servicing us. So it's an all-encompassing business. So you're not losing money, but we as residents that are here, or those residents that are here full time, are still gaining some of the benefits that we would in the prime season as well.
Absolutely. And Mr. Dave over here, like I said, he's my numbers guy. He said something very important. Is variable expenses. What is that? In the summer when we're low, the catering, and again, we have a few caterings coming up for the police department of Surprise here. Actually, I'm catering that one. But very simple. To get through the summer with those 1,000 people here, if I ask those 1,000 people to believe in what I want to provide for you 6 days a week, and you give me 60% support, and I'm reaching a little low, I'd rather have 90. But if I'm getting 60% support, and with my catering as well, we're going to get to October, November, December, January. We're going to be in great shape to where we can open up for more. So I really believe that I have no secret recipe. I have no secret key, but I really know that my experience is going to help here with everything.
Okay, and one last question. This is in regard to your liquor license. We know that you have a liquor license and that you would like to be able to serve alcohol at the location, but then did I also understand that you have a BYOB option?
Yes. So, during our trial, let's call it our trial session here. I've been guilty of speaking my mind a lot, but I'm going to say it out loud. During our trial term here, I understand, to get a liquor license, it requires 3 months. It requires a formal lease. It requires that. I want to say it to everybody hears me. It is imperative. It is very important. And I know this touches a little bit of a sensitive bone, but I want to always, say it before it's asked. My intention for the future, not immediately, because I know we're going to be trying it. I want to show you what I can do. I want to prove to you that I can do something great for you. And in return, I want that support for me to get a liquor license. What does a liquor license do here? And I'll touch on that. When let's say we have a little bar in the chuck wagon. Very simple. When my bar is operational, there is no other alcohol in that bar. When my bar is non-operational, then in here, same thing. My liquor license would extend here. Let's say I have a catered event for your community, for somebody, one of the clubs here, and they want me to provide bar service. Well, the BYOB gets taken out for that day only. Other than that, it would not impede on the BYOB. But what does a bar bring to the community? I'll tell you exactly what it did to Sun Village. When we started there 5 years ago, we had 4 people at the bar on any given day, 4 to 5. Our bar over there seats 14 people. That's it. What we have right before COVID and now, it's 14 threes with 3 people standing behind them. I'm actually increasing that bar. That bar now is known as Cheers. Remember the show Cheers? Everybody knows everybody. We have the same people. It becomes a social gathering. I know everybody can drink at home with your friends, but why not come over, meet in a social place, and make more friends and gather in the bar? That does not make us alcoholics, just so you know. It makes us friends and family, and that's what makes us. Um, Gatherings of trivia, karaoke, with having a bar provided is beautiful. So in the long run of this, my intention for the trial, I probably would not get a liquor license, but my commitment is, or my request is that I need to have a liquor license here to provide you with bar service, and nobody would benefit but everybody.
Okay, thank you, Chef Peter. Thank you, Marie. I'm done.
Becca, do you want to, questions?
Um, Most of them have been covered, but I do have one issue, one thing I want to bring up that I had spoken about when we met, a couple of board members met with, and Darlene met with Chef Peter before. And that was a program for delivering meals to those folks that are temporarily or permanently somewhat housebound. And I know we talked about it. We said we could use volunteers. Can you expound on your vision for that sort of a program, please?
Absolutely. This is an exciting, you know, she brought it up to me before, and this is just, I had it right here in the back of my head. In Sun Village, what we have, even through COVID, we all remember COVID. We don't have to bring it up. But ultimately, there's so many people who can't come out, especially right now when it gets to 130 degrees. But with the volunteer program, I could have a special menu. So the menu that we have, we can have it delivered straight to your house. The tip would go to the volunteer that's taking the food over to the houses. I would be all about it. I tell you what, that is exciting because even you don't even have to be bound to your house. You can just be watching a game and say, you know what, I just want to order something from the restaurant. But God bless. My commitment to you is that I'm all 100% on that. We have at Sun Village, we have a delivery system. We've been during the middle of the season, we had my employees do it. And I have one of those side by side units, and we borrowed in the afternoons, we borrowed the landscaping little gators or whatever you call them. And we do deliveries throughout the whole community. So there's nothing, I'm more excited than to do that and copy it over here.
Any more questions, Becca?
No, I think that's all.
I just have one, and then I'm going to turn it over to Barb. What do you need from us?
The keys. No, the biggest thing, and this cannot be accomplished. My dream up here and in my heart cannot happen without the support of the board, the management company, and the community 100%. If all three, that's what happened in Sun Village. When we started, 100% support. That's what it takes. It cannot be blinded. It cannot be, yes on here, no over here, yes over there. It has to be 100%. That's what I need, and that would give us a starting chance. And actually, that's a secret recipe right there, by the way. So that's what I need.
Barbara,
Marie, I have a question before Barbara goes.
I'm sorry.
Before Barbara steps in, I have a question. Chef Peter, you said if you have volunteers, you would be able to lower the prices at about 35%. If at some point, say for instance during the summer, we don't get the amount of volunteers needed, what's going to happen with those prices?
So Mr. Dave said something that is very important. Variable. What is variable? Everything is variable. But I tell you what, even with 1,000 people here, and variable is business. In the summer, we have 1,000. In the winter time, we possibly have 1,500 to possibly 2,200 or whatever that number is. 3,500. Oh man, I love that. But what happens is the demand creates. To answer your question, Darlene, is this: my commitment is that I will give you the best price and the best quality of food. If it's 35% with, and I threw that number out there because it does make sense. If we look at labor wise, labor right now, I don't have to tell you about labor, how it's going right now. If it goes up again in January or not. But ultimately, in the summer, if I have one or two volunteers delivering food to the houses, it helps me with my labor. I can still keep the prices down. So I think experimental trial I think nobody loses because what happens in the trial is you get to see how I perform, and at the same time, you get all those questions like that answered. What is going to happen? Well, we don't know, but I got a feeling. I know that of some volunteers already that I'm looking at right now that I can't say their names, but I know that they'll be here with me probably 6 days a week. But anyway, so my commitment is I will give you the best prices of anybody here.
Thank you.
Barbara?
So I wanted to ask does Ron Woodward have any questions before I ask questions?
Yes, basically, my questions kind of echoed the comments that, well, not so much as questions, but comments that Steve made. And I want to make sure that anything that we enter into with him is clearly communicated to the people who responded to our survey so that we don't ever appear to be thumbing our nose at those results. I've heard comments on both sides lately about how dare the board go that direction after what we told them. And the other side of it is they all know that D-Day is coming and we're going to have to face the music sooner or later, and we're going to have to fish or cut bait. And as a result of that, I wanted to succeed, but I don't want it to succeed at the course of the customers and the owners feeling like we're shoving it down their throat. I believe Chef Peter can do it. I believe that he can offer a quality product for a competitive price. I don't have any doubt about that, but I just want to make sure that the process is followed. And I think that what I've seen is puts the process pretty close to what we envision the process being. But by the same token, you're going to have people saying, oh, you guys jumped the line again. And I don't want that to happen.
Okay. Thank you, Ron. Those are excellent comments. It is obviously something that we very much need to pay attention to. So, Chef Peter, I have just a few more questions. You've answered many of them. But one of the things I'd like for you to do is to speak about sort of your longevity, if you will, in the restaurant business, and specifically on some of the things that you did to pivot your business during COVID.
Well, I tell you what, thank you for that question. That opens me for another little quick story. You know, this is going to sound a little silly. I had a news or newspaper person that came in and interviewed me right after COVID. And we got an article, and which I have a plaque at the restaurant. And it actually mentions Happy Trails, by the way. That is really cool. Whenever you go to the restaurant, you get to see that. And it says, how Chef Peter's Bistro thrived through COVID. This is my commitment to you, to everybody in Happy Trails. What I did in Sun Village, and I shouldn't brag about it, but this is a good story. I guess I'll brag about it. So it starts. Let me tell you about my history. I started as the youngest executive chef in Arizona. And that's something to brag about, but it's not. I was crash course through the Scottsdale Culinary Program. The one of the board members in the Scottsdale Culinary Program was the owner of the restaurant that I operated back then, El Paso Barbecue. And he found out that I was only 18 years old. They gave me a crash course, and I got certified as the youngest executive chef. I was running 3 operations at 18 years old, 3 restaurants. Moving all the way forward, I opened Dylan's restaurant. I opened the Dylan's and the third Dylan's up in Sun City Grand. I got a lot of friends over there. And then I had a lot of partnerships in Sun Village. 5 years before so 10 years ago, I helped another gentleman operate that place. So I had a little in on what people wanted. And I never say ill things about any of my old partners, except that we will never be partners again. But ultimately, let me tell you about COVID and what we did. The idea came from my staff, my team. So this is the scenario we operated. I bought from the same person at Shamrock Foods for 27 years. This person calls me one day and says, Chef Peter, you have to listen to me. I said, trust me on this. And I said, uh-oh. Usually when somebody says that, that's bad news. And he says, you have to order a pallet of this, a pallet of that, a pallet of this. And I said, are you crazy? Something's going to happen really bad. Trust me. I said, that's 2 truckloads of product. And I trusted him. So all of a sudden, a week later, COVID hit. And we all remember what that did. I am stuck with 2 truckloads. My brain just went nuts first. I said, what am I going to do with all this product? Me and my wife sat at a table and I got that idea. I said, well, all of a sudden, toilet paper, we all remember. I still don't understand the whole deal, but whatever. I hope everybody, anyways. So what I did to pivot was my commitment to Sun Village was nobody is going to be without toilet paper. Nobody is going to be without flour, rice, bread, sugar, salt, everything. I had 2 truckloads of product. My my big room, which is it would be not even it's a big room, dining room in the back. I called the health department to get their advice on how to handle it. I swear to God, it looked like a Colombian drug lab. I put I put plastic across half of the unit. We had tables in the back, scales, breaking down sugar, 50-pound bags of sugar, salt, everything. And then we started an ordering program. I borrowed all the carts from the landscapers. And this is my commitment to Sun Village. We made to send out a big blast. People were scared. You remember that? People didn't even want to come out of their house. We built a secret knock, and it went like this. And they would leave a basket outside with money. We drop all their groceries. We take off. The only thing I asked, no delivery charge, just take care of my team. $30 worth of groceries, they would leave $50. My team thrived. I hired people during COVID. We did a 2 meals every lunch, 2 meals dinner, rotation style in the community and the roundabout. 500 people each time, nonstop. So the way I pivoted my business was I was not gonna, and this is how I started. I met with my whole team together, and I gave them one choice. Mr. Dave, obviously he had no choice. He was stuck with me. But I gave them all one choice. I said, and then, not to add, 2 of my restaurateur friends, they said, you know what? Let's just close down. This is going to blow over in 2 weeks. They got mad at me because I said my response was, are you insane? What about your staff? What about your customers? I refused, of course. I had an emergency meeting with my team and I said, I will be 100% with you if I have the same from you. I cannot do it without you. So if we all agree on plowing through this, see, we're all going to thrive. And everybody, no exception, they all raise their hand. And I tell you what we did there, people talk stories about to this day because I pivoted my whole business without even knowing. I just instinct kicked in, and that's why we're here today. And we're going to do, my commitment is that I'm going to bring all that energy and all that, uh, actually, my wife's ideas, but I'm going to bring them all to you guys here. But thank you very much for that. And hopefully you believe in me because I believe in this community. I know that I can do something great here too.
My next question, thank you for that. My next question is or relating to just a little bit more on the use of the facility. In that, as you know, our residents and all of us really do feel that the chuck wagon, as the residents described it, is the heart of the community where friendships are made. You've talked about many of the things that you would bring in, such as karaoke and trivia and those types of things that will really draw the community in to the Chuck Wagon. What is your feeling about us, some of our residents being able to use the facility after hours?
I am very open-minded to that, as long as you clean up after yourselves. Uh, the biggest thing for me is if I'm not using it, and it's such a beautiful place, I love it. I'm still shocked at the thing in the very back over the Roy Rogers and stuff. I love it. But if I'm not using it, why not use it? It's very simple. So yes, I'm very open-minded to it. But I can tell you what, I'm going to keep that place so used to the point where you guys are coming in here. Let me tell you another thing that I did in Sun Village before COVID. I've been responsible for about 6 weddings, no divorces. Um, I started, I started on a Friday night for fish fry. I started, one of our, one of our residents lost her husband 2 months before. She was distraught, married 62 years. She would not come out. She came out for lunch, and I said, I need you to be my guest Friday night. I need you to show up. This is how it started. No, no, Peter, I just feel uncomfortable coming out to see anybody. And I said, nope, you're going to show up, and that's a must. So it started with 3 guests that I know of and her. She comes in on a Friday. I take her to a table, and I said, my friends, I said, I need you to, I'm going to introduce you to one of my best friends here. And I need this to be a friendship table today. And I didn't tell them about what happened. She just lost her husband or nothing. That table turned into 35 people every Friday night, right before COVID. And then COVID hit. Right now, we're back to 35 to 40 people. So everybody calls it the friendship table. So what we're going to do here is no different than that. How many single people are here? How many how many couples that just want to meet more people? God bless. We want to have a people. This is the heart of this community. There's NC1, NC2, but this is where everybody comes and meets. Why not build a place for you guys to come over here and have an incredible time, and then call your friends and tell them, hey, let's meet over there for fish fry or prime rib Saturdays, and on the friendship table. So that's what I'm going to bring over here.
Good. And then thank you. My final question has to do with financial backing. You've been in business for a long time. Um, and we're not going to speak to our prior situation, but we expected that the prior folks had the financial backing, and it turned out they didn't. What gives you confidence that you can make a go of this financially?
Financially is a big variable. I keep using that word. He just started me. He got me on that one today. Um, what is success? What is financial success? What is that? One thing that I would not put a number on the quality of employees that I have. If I did not have the team that I have, the confidence in my team, I would not be here with you today. Financially, I have no concern whatsoever that we can go through this trial and make it very successful, and to have a 5-year lease agreement by the end of that term. So I'm very, very confident. Again, no, there's no better money or anything than having the right people in the right place, the mise en place. But thank you.
So, Marie, would you like to start entertaining some questions from the residents that are on site and also the chat line? I see there's 54 comments in chat already.
Yeah, we have quite a few on the chat. I'm going to have Brad read a few, and then we'll start with the residents here.
Yeah, we do have a few questions from our chat. Some of them have been answered already about some of the summer work and how the volunteers will be used during the summer hours. One that just came up from Will at lot 1674 asked, do you intend to run your catering trucks from Happy Trails? Do you intend to run your catering trucks from Happy Trails?
Oh, Well, catering trucks, there's a definition to that. Uh, my food trucks, just so I'm going to share that story to answer that question. I'm working on a little venture. You remember that red food truck that I had here? It's a big, bulky one, 34 footer. And then the other food truck, those will not be stored here. They will not be here. They're not going to take any space here. They will be brought, the little one will be brought over here when we have special events for barbecue or whatever. The only catering vehicles is going to be a white panel van that I have that is just a regular standard 1500 SUV van. So nothing to be concerned of.
We have another one from Debbie Cheek, and she asked, with the liquor license by law, the BYOB is not allowed. So that means no bringing drinks to your club events.
Yeah, so with the liquor license, again, the liquor license is very sensitive. If I am operational, if I am serving alcohol that day, there is no BYOB. An example is Sun Village, because of the liability involved, and it's a right law. Uh, if I'm operational, if I have a bar here, or let's say at the Chuck Wagon, and we're closed for the day, and you guys want to use it for a meeting or cards or whatever in the afternoon, obviously you don't have access to my bar, so there's not a problem. We will find out.
Clarification on that. Your bar is open here at Chuck Wagon, but I'm over at NC1 and I'm having a meeting and I want to have drinks. Is your bar affecting NC1?
Nope, not at all. It's like a little umbrella. So the umbrella would be covering what the liquor board is very sensitive. You have to literally draw a little map over it. So I would not cover any of the NC1, NC2, any other meeting rooms or nothing.
So the liquor thing does not affect clubs having events outside of your umbrella.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
This is Barb. I'd like to tag on to that. So let's say that we are holding a happy hour in our courtyard. That is BYOB. And you were serving food at that. Would residents still be allowed to bring their own bottle?
Absolutely. So the big thing, what defines everything is that umbrella. And that umbrella, it's basically, it would not cover the courtyard because it has to be completely enclosed. So that's an open area. So that's BYOB. But I want to make sure that I clarify that I am providing the food.
Okay. Again, I want to clarify because there's several things here on the chat. If his bar is closed and the Chuck Wagon is not open and there is a function in the ballroom, the pack, and you want to bring your BYOB, you can. Correct?
Absolutely.
Correct. So that is clarification. The BYOB is fine as long as you're not bringing it into a restaurant. And that's the thing that I personally want to make clear. That's a restaurant. The Chuck Wagon is a restaurant. Oregano's is a restaurant. You don't bring your bottle into Oregano's. You don't bring your bottle into, a restaurant down the street. So you won't bring your bottle into the Chuck Wagon. But you do at NC1 or you do at your neighbors next door. Those aren't restaurants. That's the difference.
We have another one from Patty. Would the restaurant be advertised and open to the public?
Very good question. I believe and everybody prospers by opening it to outside. What is outside? I can tell you that I have hundreds, if not thousands, of friends next door in Arizona Traditions, and they love you guys, by the way. When they used to come here with the Chuck Wagon a long time ago, and I hear all the stories. But yes, I would. I've never been one to advertise. If you guys look at I wanted to throw this out there too. For 4 weeks in a row, we were number one restaurant in Surprise. That is incredible. So that's going to speak highly of you guys too when I come here. But no, opening to the public, I think it brings more real estate opportunities for you, everybody, and more money to the community. So it is imperative, and I definitely need it. That does not mean I'm going to put somebody on that corner flipping a sign. But anyways, I've never thought about that.
We have another one from the chat. Will you be keeping Sun Village open too? If so, how are you going to be at HT most of the time, as you stated?
Absolutely. Again, the team that I have, I cannot. I get like excited about this. I have an incredible team. I built. Mr. Dave is the one who. He's like my. I told you he's my consultant. He's my mentor. He had every meeting we have. He talks to my managers over there, and it sounds kind of weird for me to say it, but he says you guys need to be little Peters. and but ultimately, that's what I have in my restaurant over there. The other day, one of our residents is here now that I cannot say her name. She was over there, and she says, "That's got to be your son." Why? Because he says exactly the things that you say. That is incredible. I have a whole bunch of mini me's. I have people that my commitment to you is, and this is the nicest thing. I live halfway between Happy Trails and Sun Village. It's so coincidence, such a beautiful coincidence. So my commitment is that, and during season, of course, I'm not here to lie to nobody. Of course, my goal, I'll probably be over there, half a day over there and the other half a day over here. I'm in a place when it matters. So and I have the perfect team for that. So before you know it, my wife comes over here and you guys don't love me anymore. So it's okay.
We have another one from Bob Fall. He asks, what financials have you put together as to what is needed, number of people served, gross dollars taken in, and on the other side, what is your estimate of the fixed costs?
I still need to take a tour of the kitchen, and this is for that same purpose. I don't know the prior people that were here. Let's not talk about them too much. I don't know what condition that thing, what do I need to bring in, but the staff level I have already. I have enough staff to operate 3 restaurants. Uh, Financial wise, that's a very broad question, but ultimately, I know what fixed. What is a fixed? Fixed would be utilities. Everything, most everything is variable. Labor, food cost, everything. What is fixed? Fixed would be what percentage of utilities I would have to pay into this facility. That's my imagination.
We got one. If things work out and you open here at Happy Trails, would you be willing to pay toward extra security? This would offset the need for extra staff at the gate and monitor grounds as outsiders for potential to roam on our residential area.
That is a very open-ended question. What if? When? If? What if? I don't think that none of us have the answer. I can tell you that in Sun Village, in 5 years, that has never ever been an issue, ever.
We're getting a lot of some of the repetitive questions, about cost and, summer hours and things of that matter.
Um,
Uh,
Brad, I have one quick question. I see some things online. If I could ask it real quick.
yeah, go ahead.
Chef Peter, I know you mentioned this when we met before, but there's been some questions about serving dinner. And I want to say mostly it was breakfast, lunch, and specialty dinners, but I want you to expound on that, please.
Oh yes. So my commitment is with your support, I can open every day. So the thing is, but for dinners, my favorite three is fish fry, a specialty dinner, a steak night, and an Italian night. So in the summer, I would start with maybe fish fry every 2 weeks, or if I have enough support, we would do it every Friday. But as we get into the season, I'll be open-minded to do dinner every day. But specialty dinners, and based on reservations. That is number one. If I know that 75 people are coming, I'll prepare for 75 people. And that's where, but yeah, opportunity. I've done this way too many times. In the summer at Sun Village, we go down to 3 dinners because that's what it calls for, and we get enough support for that. So yes, but I'm all for dinners. I love to have music, nice guitars playing in the back, with Italian or with a nice Italian pasta bar.
Alrighty, we got another one. This is more like a question for the whole community, including us. The truck wagon had problems getting volunteers before. What assurance do we have that will not be or continue to be a problem? Those who want the old truck wagon back, are you willing to sign a commitment to volunteer?
And with that statement, I'm going to go ahead and open it up to the people that are here. So if you want to come up to the podium and with your questions and state your name and your lot as you normally do, and have questions for the chef. Nobody? Oh, here we go.
This is Marilyn Klein.
Don't forget to hold the microphone right up to your face.
Marilyn Klein, 392. With the situation in all the restaurants around here since COVID, nobody wants to work. How are you keeping your staff? Do you have a problem with them coming in and quitting on you and not being replaced, or not show up even after you hire them? That's one of our problems that we've had. And so when you walk up to the chuck wagon and it's supposed to be open, it's chained and they just up and close because they can't have any service because they don't show up with the service people. And that was a problem before. You could never, and then they kept changing their hours, adjusting them and not notifying anybody. And that was a big problem. And you have to have somebody that's dependable. And even with the volunteer problem too, that's throwing another monkey wrench in.
Absolutely.
And
The biggest thing for me, um, and again, I don't want to bring up the nightmares that I heard about people here before. The way I treat my team is priceless. They've been with me through COVID, through the hardship of COVID. Yes, we all went through the whole thing. Everybody, all of a sudden I shouldn't say it out loud, but anyways, my personal opinion is personal, but a lot of restaurants went through the fact that people just would not show up to work. They rather collect that $300 unemployment they go to work. My team, and I'll say this, my team, just like I believed in them through COVID and they stuck with me, they are 100% committed. I'm very, very blessed. There's no other answer to that I'm blessed. And the volunteer program, I want to say this out loud too. Uh, my view of volunteers is not come and help me for nothing. No, I'm going to have little perks for all my volunteers. Is that called bribing? I heard. No, you
thank
know,
you.
but I will take care of everybody. God bless.
Good morning, board, Chef Peters, and fellow residents of Happy Trails. My name is Cheryl, lot 642. And a couple of things. My history as Chef Peters goes back to 2019. When my husband passed away, he catered his memorial, and it was beautiful in their ballroom there. I don't think you had done it before, and he said, hey, this is something I'm going to start doing to provide a service. And first time, I don't even know if it was the first time, but it was close and it was beautiful. It went off amazing. A year later, I moved to Sun Village, and that weekend, the world shut down. I was teaching and I was forced to go back into my home. This is a comment more than a question, but I thought it was important to back up what you were saying. I was teaching and I was forced to work in my home 60 to 80 hours per week. And if it wasn't for Chef Peters and his drivers, that they stepped up, they got into gear, they took what they had, they took their lemons and they made lemonade. And they provided meals to me 5 days a week. I wasn't a shut-in. I wasn't afraid to go out and shop. I wasn't one of those, but I couldn't get out. I was glued to my desk trying to get nervous